The war finally erupted after a series of tense and escalating events lasting many weeks. But another war began with only a few scattered casualties. Then dragged on for up to 4 years and became a large-scale massacre. However, this is not the kind of war we typically know. It was not waged by humans, but by chimpanzees. More precisely, the chimpanzees in Gombe National Park, Tanzania. Casa Kela was once a large, peaceful chimpanzee community for many years. But by 1973, a group of individuals split from the community to form a new group, called Kahama. They planned to invade the territory of the old community. This plot failed and ended in a bloodbath, when Casa Kela completely wiped out 6 Kahama soldier individuals and defended their territory intact. This event stunned the scientific community into realizing that our close primate cousins also know how to wage war within a complex society with a clear hierarchical system. Observing the conflict, people also saw many violent behaviors and cunning tactics being used, solely to achieve the ultimate goal. Chimpanzees do not act on pure instinct, they are aware of their own thoughts. It can be said that such a calculated war demonstrates behavioral capacities far beyond what humans previously knew about chimpanzees. Alongside that, many other discoveries related to evolutionary biologicals or the development of the brain through periods have posed a question for humans. Perhaps we still retain some part of being apes? Before enjoying the main content, please support the producers of this video by liking and subscribing to the Dark Truth Files. Thank you for choosing to accompany Primordial Universe tonight. We will begin right now. And there is one very important point to note, which is that in the first episode, we agreed that this series develops based on the foundation of the fire theory. This world is trapped in time. Every creature, from when it was the simplest single cell, to when it developed into the most complex intelligent organism, has been imprisoned in forms unchanged since the dawn of creation. This idea is hard to believe. From childhood, we were taught that Earth is a dynamic planet, where everything changes every second, every minute. Even we humans, with all our superior technological capabilities, cannot escape this domination. Within a million years, the world has witnessed the rise and fall of at least 7 different human species. And Homo sapiens is the final victor. However, before the 19th century, the vast majority of people believed that they lived in an unchanging world. Life was always enduring and had not changed since its formation. But when the revolution changing our perception of life on Earth occurred, everything was different. In the tropics of Malaysia, this man is immersed in research, aiming to find the answer to a problem that the whole world, even academia, is grappling with. He developed a theory about species developing over time, under environmental pressures over many years. He called that process of influence and change natural selection. The great mind we are talking about is not Charles Darwin, but Alfred Russel Wallace, who independently conceived the concept of human evolution. Along with Darwin, thanks to Wallace, we know that humans have always been an important part of the animal world, from primitive times to today. The descent of man. He declared that humans and other primates not only evolved from a common ancestor, but also share many characteristics, from physical, behavioral to cognitive. But is this accurate or not? Most people in the 1870s had never seen another large primate individual besides humans. But for a world traveler like Darwin, recognizing those similarities was not difficult at all. Perhaps the most noticeable similarity is the expression of emotions on the face. Indeed, using the face to express emotions may sound simple, but not every species can do it. Primates in general, including humans, belong to the group of creatures that can use their faces to show how they're feeling. One only needs to observe a certain group of primates for a short time to notice the types of expressions they use daily. Happiness, joy, anger, surprise, and pain all appear. The movements of their facial parts reflect a high adaptation to living in complex social groups, where communication is key. Humans are not something entirely new to the world but are separate and evolved from distant ancestors. Scientifically, humans still belong to the primate category, and thus we and they are relatively similar. Wallace and Darwin never fully answered the questions regarding this assertion, despite many breakthroughs in knowledge about human origins. It wasn't until the 20th century, when officially recognized by the scientific community, that they began searching for the missing link. An extinct creature somewhere between the ancestral species and modern humans. Such a creature was thought to be found in the European region, with a brain larger than that of apes but retaining features adapted to arboreal life. In 1924, Raymond Dart, an Australian anatomist working at a university, received a special shipment from a quarry. Inside were some carefully wrapped, unclear fossil bones. The specimen of Australopithecus africanus. Many scientists have long held the view that a larger brain was the first step that made us different. The brain must have evolved earlier than any other trait. However, the newly discovered fossil shows a creature with a small brain but teeth similar to Homo sapiens and evidence of upright walking. Even the flattened larynx from the specimen suggests this creature likely knew how to speak. Thus, even with a small size, the brain demonstrates behavioral and cognitive complexity that is not inferior. Therefore, it lends high credibility to the idea that cognitive evolution was indeed a prolonged, selective process spanning millions of years. Many quickly began to think of the specimen as a missing link supporting the theory of evolution. And although we now know that belief was misplaced, this discovery still plays an important role in exploring our evolutionary journey. Evolution is a long road that seems endless. Many still wonder how far we have traveled on this path. How much of our cognition remains from the ancient African savannas? The dawn in the tropical forest, light piercing through the early morning mist, illuminating the still sleeping yellow fur. When compared to most other primates, it's easy to see why Mariki is considered unique. This pot-bellied, long-tailed primate lives an extremely peaceful, harmonious life with very little violence. Even mates are shared within the community. That is puzzling in a situation where food is always scarce. In a world where most primates want to monopolize resources, the behavior of Mariki is truly curious. An American anthropologist has studied this strange creature since the 1980s and quickly realized that Mariki society resembles human society in many aspects. Here, females are equal to males and are considered important members of the community even when old and infertile. It is almost impossible to find signs of violence and competition within the group to access mates. In this sense, Mariki monkeys are even more peaceful than humans. Their seemingly complex social life indicates higher cognitive abilities. But their brains are not superior to other monkeys in the same region. This once again reinforces that a large brain is not the most important trait in evolution. You might be surprised by the similarities in anatomy and behavior between other primates and humans through the examples just given. The fact that we and they share a common ancestor is further emphasized. However, our path and that of these primates are completely different. They are not less evolved than us. While we evolved, they have also been evolving. We did not evolve from monkeys, chimpanzees, or gorillas. Scientists have calculated that the great apes of the world split from our common ancestor 40 million years ago. These evolutionary cousins are gradually showing us that their true behavioral history and capabilities, after tens of millions of years of development, cannot be underestimated. We may not be as exceptionally superior as we think, aside from an unusually large brain relative to our body. However, there is an undeniable fact. The larger an animal's brain relative to its body size, the more likely that species is to be intelligent. More likely. This very fact has presented researchers with a challenging question. How did the human brain develop into such a special organ? What drives primates to develop brains more complex and formidable than those in the animal world? And are our behaviors and thoughts today influenced by this process? Our first primates likely did not have large brains. Indeed, many researchers have compared them to living lemur species today. These lemurs belong to one of the oldest surviving primate species. They will provide many interesting insights into the early evolution of the primate brain. The brains of small lemur species are smaller and simpler compared to large primates, but they still demonstrate superiority over distant ancestral species. This shows they have continuously evolved. Although all species' brains have developed over time, only humans have achieved remarkable success. This difference may not stem from the brain itself as we often think. Rather, as far back as 25 million years ago, we seem to have been favored, prepared for something greater. Hidden in lush tropical forests long ago were some typical primate species of the monkey family. They lived in trees, moving back and forth easily as experts perfectly adapted to life. Some of the earliest known populations thrived in African tropical forests during the Miocene epoch. They had larger brains than species existing before that time, but that is not the greatest link between them and us today. These species exhibited behavioral capabilities superior to their ancestors. Moreover, they displayed many human-like qualities to an astonishing degree. These traits seem to hint at the beginning of an extraordinary evolutionary journey about to unfold. Over millions of years, these early monkeys began developing larger and more complex brains. Reliance on a primary food source, likely fruit, played a crucial driving role. Since fruit is often dispersed and seasonally available, animals had to remember and move to specific locations at different specific times. Not stopping there, as the brain became more refined, the climate also began to change. Environmental shifts caused lush forests to gradually diminish, replaced by grasslands, savannas, and open plains in Africa. Some species followed the shrinking forests deeper inside, evolving into the common monkeys we know today. But a few chose a different path for themselves. The changing environment set the stage for the evolution of a species capable of living in both forests and grassland, savanna environments. Please look at this skull. It has a capacity of only 167.7 cubic centimeters, while the skull of Australopithecus from East Africa is 3 times that size. But earlier than Australopithecus and closer to our ancestors, the difference of the Sahelanthropus chimpanzee from 7 million years ago is a perfect example of the relationship between habitat and brain. Living in grassland, savanna environments may have provided a special evolutionary advantage in adapting to a rapidly changing landscape. Strangely, Sahelanthropus' brain has a foramen magnum structure similar to humans. This fact gives us grounds to infer that they might have been bipedal animals. More specifically, Sahelanthropus may even be the earliest species in the human branch of the evolutionary tree. Standing upright on two legs holds immense significance. Thanks to it, the primates' forelimbs were freed, allowing them to manipulate objects with greater dexterity, paving the way for subsequent species to know how to use tools. Homo sapiens perfectly leveraged that advantage to follow the brain's thinking path. Homo sapiens also gradually reached the peak of brain optimization compared to any other creature on Earth. Along with dexterous hands, this foreshadowed the emergence of cognitively complex behaviors, including abstract thinking about language and problem-solving skills. When we look into the eyes of a chimpanzee like Sahelanthropus, we see a reflection of ourselves. The prelude to a journey that began millions of years ago. Nevertheless, underestimating our close cousins in the evolutionary process is truly a huge mistake. The more you research and learn, the more you realize we are not as superior or different as we think. Imagine you are wandering in the vast forests near the African savanna plains. A chimpanzee is moving through the branches above your head. One of its hands grasps a high branch for balance, the other holds a sharp spear. He is a master hunter. In the distance, he has a group of companions following, moving in deadly silence. It's not too hard to guess what is about to happen. When he delivers a fatal spear thrust and takes down the prey, this extraordinary moment is so precise it takes your breath away. Your slightly hurried breath seems unnoticed, as within seconds a small, bloody mass of fur is pulled out. The entire scene is filled with sounds like this. The hunter's companions immediately emit excited and admiring cries. Their friends and family do the same. In their society, a successful hunt leads the whole community to celebrate because everyone gets a share. The hunter holds the prey tightly in hand. Other members are ready to divide the spoils. But now, inside him, an internal conflict is raging. Instinct tells him this is his personal spoils. He needs to protect it with all he has. But reason now points out that he has close relationships with the individuals standing around. In the past, they also shared their spoils with him. If he does the opposite this time, they might isolate him and there will certainly be no sharing in the future. After some internal struggle, he allowed each individual in the community to take a portion of the spoils. He also set aside a special portion for the highest-ranking members of the group. Of course, the original resources were limited. When only enough meat remained for himself, he guarded it so fiercely that he didn't let anyone have a chance to touch it. In human society, sharing is not uncommon. But for chimpanzees, sharing food, especially such valuable food, is not aimed at showing generosity or high-mindedness, but belongs entirely to political calculation. The hunter learned hunting techniques from his community, so that one day, he would aspire to establish his own community. Meat is the foundation for building closer relationships with individuals in the community, aiming to seek recognition. The previous example is a classic example of intelligence. Machiavellian intelligence was first proposed by the Dutch researcher specializing in psychology, primatology, and ethics, Frans de Waal, in 1982. This idea makes it clear that even seemingly altruistic actions in chimpanzee society can be driven by personal motives and the need for dominance. This hypothesis even argues further that the need for higher dominance actually drove the significant increase in brain size. And with larger brains and hands more dexterous than many other species, it's not too surprising that chimpanzees use both advantages for making and using tools. In 2007, anthropologists directly observed a specific situation in a group of chimpanzees originally from the savanna region, southeastern Senegal, where temperatures frequently reached 40 degrees Celsius, with a dry season lasting up to 7 months each year. This is a challenging environment for survival. But most of this vast, open grassland area is where our human ancestors evolved in the past. That is also why people are particularly interested in studying chimpanzees. They not only live in an environment similar to our ancestors, but are also the most proficient tool users in the natural world. For these chimpanzees, they can use various types of tools for different purposes. They use heavy stone tools to crack hard-shelled nuts, use sticks to extract insects, use leaves to clean wounds. And what makes them even more special is that they are known as one of the rare non-human primate populations that regularly seek food using tools, as in the anthropomorphic example we just mentioned. In 2011, a group of researchers from the University of Ljubljana and Iowa State University reported that wild chimpanzees from Bandafassi, Senegal, know how to use tools to dig for underground food. Previously, the only other non-human animal known to use tools to harvest underground food were bears from Serra da Capivara National Park, Brazil. To date, scientists discovered that wild chimpanzees know how to use tools to dig for underground food is very important because this behavior was once considered unique to humans. A species thought to have helped humans and our ancient ancestors separate from other primates. In the new study, scientists studied tool use and selection in captive chimpanzees to better understand how tool-assisted digging behavior might develop. They monitored a group of 10 chimpanzees living on an island at the Kristiansand Zoo in Norway. 8 of them were born in captivity and none had previously performed digging behavior. The research team dug 5 small holes and placed whole fruits in each hole, initially leaving the holes open for the chimpanzees to find the fruits, and then filled each hole. They then provided digging tools. 9 out of 10 chimpanzees successfully learned to dig up the buried fruit at least once. Even some chimpanzees not provided with tools managed to dig using tools they found. The research team also observed chimpanzees reusing specific tools and choosing longer tools for digging behaviors. And most surprisingly, the researchers also observed chimpanzees taking turns digging a hole and even sharing the fruit after digging it up. Thanks to advances in science, we know that chimpanzees and bonobos are our closest evolutionary relatives. So it sounds extremely reasonable to assume that many behaviors present in humans can also be found in chimpanzees and bonobos. Pioneering studies over the past half-century have revealed some aspects of chimpanzee behavior that were previously unknown. According to scientists, through long-term field studies of chimpanzee communities in the 1960s, we learned that our primate cousins are capable of more than we previously knew. In chimpanzee communities, besides making and using tools, they also have social lives as rich and complex as those extroverted humans. They form loyal, long-lasting friendships, political alliances, and close family relationships. You won't have difficulty encountering chimpanzees spending hours grooming, hugging each other, and caring for weaker, less fortunate individuals. And moreover, they have complex communication abilities with a rich vocabulary of gestures and surprisingly characteristic sounds that we have only recently begun to decode. In summary, we get a picture of chimpanzees as masterful tool users, capable of sharing spoils with their kind, possessing political acumen. And certain chimpanzees are political. Do you think they are far inferior to humans? Or from another perspective, perhaps we still carry something similar to these cousins of ours? All these amazing things are just a small chapter in the chronicle of chimpanzee society since we began field studies of various populations. But not only that, during the research, scientists accidentally discovered a special event. An event that strongly demonstrates human-like qualities within a community of a completely non-human species. The event reflecting human qualities that I am referring to is a war lasting a full 4 years between 2 chimpanzee communities. The Gombe Chimpanzee War, lasting from 1974 to 1978, was a violent conflict between 2 chimpanzee troops in Gombe National Park, Tanzania. The conflicting parties were Kasakela and Kahama, with territories in the northern and southern parts of the park, respectively. These two chimpanzee troops once lived. But in 1974, the researcher observing this community, James Goodall, noticed a division in the chimpanzee troops' living area, with one group in the north and the other in the south. Computer analyses of Goodall's notes later revealed that there had been social distancing between these two troops since early 1971. The Kahana troop lived in the south, consisting of 6 adult males along with 3 females and their offspring. Meanwhile, the Kasakela troop was larger, with 12 adult females and their offspring and 8 adult males. The first violent incident occurred on January 7, 1974, when a party of 6 adult male chimpanzees from Kasakela attacked and killed Godi, a young adult male from Kahama who was eating alone. This was the first time people witnessed these chimpanzees deliberately killing a member of their own species. Over the next 4 years, all 6 adult males of Kahama were killed by the males of Kasakela. Among the females of Kahama, 1 was killed, 2 went missing, and 3 were beaten and kidnapped by the Kasakela males. Subsequently, Katsakela won and seized the territory that previously belonged. However, this victory did not last long. As Kahama retreated, Katsakela's new territory faced a territorial war from another chimpanzee group named Kalande. Threatened by the superior strength and larger numbers of the Kalande group, along with several attacks along the border, the Katsakela group quickly ceded much of its newly acquired territory. The outbreak of the war greatly surprised and shocked Goodall. Because previously, she had always believed that chimpanzees, though unlike humans, had a more peaceful demeanor. Along with observations in 1975, when a high-ranking female in the group cannibalized an infant. The bloody events of the Gombe War first exposed the dark side of chimpanzee behavior. She felt deeply sorrowful about this discovery. In her memoir, she wrote, "For many years, I struggled to come to terms with this new knowledge. Many nights I woke up, horrific images haunting my mind. Satan, the name of a chimpanzee, bent down under Sniff's chin to drink the blood flowing from a deep wound on its face. Rodolphe, who was very gentle, stood upright to dodge a rock thrown at Goliath's deteriorating body. Jomio tore a strip of skin from Figan's tail, repeatedly beating the wounded body and exposed intestines of Goliath, one of his rivals. When Goodall reported the events of the Gombe War, many did not believe her description of a natural war among chimpanzees. At that time, scientific models of human and animal behavior hardly ever overlapped. Some scientists accused her of anthropomorphism. Others believed her presence in chimpanzee feeding experiments had caused violent conflict in a naturally peaceful society. However, later studies using less intrusive methods proved that chimpanzee societies in the wild do indeed engage in power struggles and wars. The brutal and calculated social behavior of the two chimpanzee groups helps us better understand our own nature and the evolutionary impacts that have shaped our cognition and behavior. Like humans, after all, we are not so special. Something that Wallace and Darwin pointed out over a century ago. Humans once shared a common origin with 7 million years ago, we diverged from the branch that includes gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, and began our own evolutionary path. However, our brains still retain many important parts from our ancestors. Common features in anatomy, brain, intelligence, and cognitive behavior. And ultimately, brutality and malevolence have always existed. Who would disagree when saying that humans still retain a part of the wildness of our ancestors? Hopefully, this video will give you a different perspective on our natural cousins and on ourselves. When will humans completely separate from the inherited wild part? In the next video, we will cover another extremely important issue in human development history. Don't forget to watch at the usual times. For now, goodbye and thank you for your support of the channel. Wishing everyone a good day. Subscribe to the Guia Migo channel.